I went into such a deep depression in a matter of 24 hours, like just like that. I didn't want to get out of bed. I mean, I was like looking at my phone sitting next to the charger, and the thought of picking it up and plugging it into the charger was overwhelming. I wanted to burst into tears multiple times throughout the day, but like nothing was wrong. And Mark and I went out and ran some errands together, and we went to the food store, and I just looked at him and I was like, I just want to crawl up on this floor and die. I feel so awful right now. Something is so wrong with me. And I started researching a little bit more, and it seems like some of the symptoms are part of what is called PMDD, premenstrual dysphoric disorder. It's basically just like a very severe form of PMS. Oh, she's here and ready to go. She's got her new Stanley.
My hydro flask without lead in it.
Hydro flask. Oh, I'm using a new fancy tool as well. It's called a glass.
Maybe there's lead in it. I don't know.
Just standard kitchen glass.
I just went to it's a huge, deep, dark pool to jump into, but I found this account called Lead Safe Mama.
Oh, we're starting with Casey's Crunch real quick.
And it's a lot for me to handle, so it's like very deep, and I am just putting my toe in because I don't want to like have my whole world shaken. So I'm like, okay, I got rid of plastics. Like now it's the war on everything else. But I mean, if I'm literally letting water marinate in this all day, I'm like, I should do that. And it has
I will say, I think it's your influence. I am definitely way more conscious of the things that I buy and that I eat.
Good.
For myself and for my children. It's definitely a commitment to make. It's definitely expensive to buy like alternative things.
100%.
But I feel like better about it, obviously. And I'm not, like we've always said, I'm not at the place where you are on the journey yet, but I'm definitely like I said, just being more conscious about things, which I think is all you can do.
I was talking to one of my friends out here about it. Steph, she has 4 babies, baseball wife. So she's got like a few things going on and like traveling all the time and in airports and like needing to feed the beast of like 4 babies all the time. And she said, that's all you can do is like have the information, like information is power, have the information, educate yourself, know the options, and then just like make the best choices you can a majority of the time, like when you can. And if you're in the airport and like you need to throw Auntie Anne's at them or like Sbarro, like, you know, it's.
Oh, wow. You just hit my 2 favorite airport delicacies.
Yes.
Sbarro
really is the Sbarro.
I say Sbarro. You say Sbarro?
I say weird. I also say orange.
Tomato.
And Eric gets mad at me. Not mad at me.
I say orange. What does he say? Orange?
Well, that's what the people that we live among now say. They say orange and they say Florida.
Oh, I live in Florida.
Florida. We're so Northeast. I literally say that to him all the time. I'm like, I wonder whose accent Jack's gonna have. He's like, we say 2 words.
Oh, I know. Yeah. It's so crazy that I have a different accent than people I grew up on the same street as.
Really?
In Philadelphia. Yeah. Like half of my street has a very...
As in you don't have... Okay, so that's the other thing.
They
like,
have a very like Philly accent.
Yeah. People say
I don't
that to
think
me
I
a lot.
do.
But I think that's also because like we were in media, you know, and we had that like communication
That's
mind,
true.
and it's like you're just more aware of it. I think.
Yeah, the way you're like enunciating and saying things.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, welcome back to Mother Up.
Yes.
You know, we always get right into things. So this is the last Monday of October. We're going to shake our sillies out a little bit. I know there's been a lot of deep topics that we've been going over this month. We felt it was very necessary to do so. And I hope that you have gotten the information and the solace and the support that you've needed, all of those things. We are going to wrap up the month at the end of this episode. So we are going to talk about all of that. I'm also going to share a little bit of a weird story that's going on with my health that very much has to do with the pregnancies and hormones and stuff that we've been talking about. But shaking our sillies out first, we got some fun topics that we want to talk about. Number 1 is Halloween. What are your plans, Miss McDonald Hosmer?
So we are out in Malibu for a few more weeks before we go back to Florida. Florida, and get some oranges. Eric's like, how do you spell that? Oranges. I'm like, don't
here's
worry
another
about
one.
it.
What do your kids like draw?
No, there are 2 syllables to that word. There are 2 syllables to crayons.
Yeah.
They're not crayons. I know. Are you a crayon?
I'm not even a crayon. I'm a crown. I know. You wear a crown.
I'm going to send you to the island of misfit toys if you say that. Oh my God.
All right, so I have a chance to fix it in the next generation. So what is it called? Is it a crayon?
It's a crayon.
Or is it a crayon?
It's a
All right,
crayon.
so I will tell my children
just how it's spelled.
That Kacie says these are your crayons.
Well, I sent Sienna a really cool birthday gift that I'm pretty pleased with myself about. I was targeted on Instagram. What's it called? Like Cedar Lane or something? I texted it to you. Caden Lane, I think it's called.
Lane, yeah, I
and
see that a lot.
They are PJs that just have just outlines of things. So I got her.
They're like black and white, and then you can color them.
I got her mermaids and princesses. I hope she doesn't listen before her birthday. And you just buy the Crayola non-toxic color markers, and so she can color her own PJs.
She's gonna love that. Yeah.
I'm also I'm in the lab on Etsy. Do you want me to tell you?
No, I don't. I want to be surprised.
No, I want to tell you.
I want to be surprised.
Okay, well, she can use it in the kitchen.
Ooh, okay.
Yes.
Great.
Yes.
She's a baker. She loves it. She makes cupcakes with my mom every week. It's very cute.
With her pink Cuisinart.
Yeah, the pink KitchenAid mixer.
Getting back to our Halloween plans. So we're out here in Malibu for a few more weeks. Our friends out here are very involved in the community. They've lived here for, I want to say, maybe almost a decade. They're both from Cali, but in Malibu for almost a decade with 4 kids. And there's this like otherworldly, like super awesome, I guess, like community that does specific neighborhood that does like goes crazy with the houses. And it's so funny because when we lived in Newton, Massachusetts, when Eric was with the Red Sox, where Jack was born, our neighborhood did that too. And like to the point of one of the homes sold the year prior to us moving there. And our homeowner that we bought from said, when the transaction happened, the new owners had to sign in the deal, we will allow the band to play. They were like the band house of the neighborhood. Yes. So they were like, the band has to play here for Halloween for like 5 or 10 years, like whatever it was. But it's like, really, like you're going to ruin Halloween. But it was insane, the amount of people. Like it was crazy. But
there's a street in Laguna Beach that's like that. That's basically like if you buy on the street, you have to invest like X amount in candy and like put out tables. Yeah. And some people even decorate their homes and that's have people walk in them.
There
as
were
like
haunted houses. Yes, there were haunted houses. One person had like a 20-foot werewolf. I do love that. One of them had cotton candy. Like you would see how long the lines were because they were like different things. One had a photo booth, like crazy. But getting back to California, I don't know what to expect, but I think it's similar to that. There are 2 roads. There's a red pill and a blue pill for the Hosmer family. We don't know which one we're going to take. Going to be a game time decision. We're either going to be, I tried to do family costumes. I think everyone's going to be the Little Mermaid, which I always thought my Eric looks like Prince Eric.
Because
so
he
that
is
got
Prince Eric.
Swiped from me. Except we're look at water people. We're not in the water people. So Prince Eric like likes to swim. We're just like cats, like to look at the water, like paw at it. But my 2 options are doing, what is it, the DC universe. So I've always wanted to be Poison Ivy.
Oh, good one.
Yes. So I'm going to be Poison Ivy. Jack and Eric will be Batman. I tried to find like a Bane costume. I was like, maybe me and Jack can be the bad guys. Joker, I don't think he's not really like a mask guy. So I got him like a sweatsuit that says Batman. The other option is I wanted them to be Spartan warriors. And I got Eric this like gold chest plate with like the abs on Etsy. It hasn't arrived from India yet, so I'll keep you updated. And I was going to be Medusa.
Yeah, cute.
So those are our options.
I said you should have had them be the Roman Empire and you would have just been a thought bubble. How often do you think of the Roman Empire?
It would have hid my midsection, so that would be a good idea.
Anything with that this year. We are going to a fun Halloween party, which I'm excited for, and there is a theme of TV. So pretty immediately.
So like TV shows, or like you're gonna go as Ron Burgundy?
No, TV, like TV shows, sitcoms. I think was like the main niche that they were going for. I at first thought Friends, because that's my favorite show, but I also feel like that's so easy. But it was like, okay, I could be Rachel. I could have like a little Central Perk apron and like make my ends like curl up like the 90s haircut. And
Is she the annoying one? I never watched Friends or Seinfeld or any of those.
yeah, I don't understand how we are friends
I don't
when
know.
that, but
Saved by the Bell, nothing. None of that.
so that's what we're doing instead. We're being Saved by the Bell. That's Mark's favorite show. He knows every single word of every single episode and watches it every Saturday.
All right, so who are you? Are you being Kelly Kapowski?
So I'm Kelly Kapowski.
How are you going to well, you have the hair for it. It's just not
I know
frizzy.
I'm a little stressed. I've been looking at tutorials on Instagram trying to
are you
figure it
gonna
out.
go get a 10% perm?
Right? No, I think I'm just going to put it in like a high to the side pony.
Yeah.
Maybe like super like crunchy, curly, and like tease the hell out of some like bangs.
Yeah. That's cute. You're going to look so cute.
Yeah, we'll see.
And what are the babies being?
So the kids are Sienna wanted to be a butterfly.
Oh, they're not partaking.
They're not.
Is this
coming
an adult
to this party?
Oh, this is
an
okay.
adults only party. Yeah. But for for the nighttime, Sienna's being a butterfly, and I wanted something for Asher to match, and he's a bumblebee.
He should have been a caterpillar.
I know. I couldn't find a cute caterpillar costume. The bumblebee.
Yeah, that
costume
didn't look like a hot dog. Yeah,
was way cuter, and we took him to Boo at the zoo a couple weeks ago. I will post pictures to the Mother Up podcast page. It's so cute.
We took Jack to it's called Night of the Jack, and it's all like it's like a walk-through light show. So it was like a mile or 2 miles where you walk through. And I also love that it's called Night of the Jack. But there was a bar. It was called the Spookeasy Bar, and of course I was like, hey, yeah,
Spookeasy. That's cute.
And they stamped our hands, and it said over 21. And it's gone. It's still there a little bit, but I did not want to wash it off. I was like, Eric, I am literally in college again. This is amazing. Like this is staying on my
black
body.
X. Yeah.
Oh yeah, the big black X on your hand.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
What do you think are going to be the top costumes this year?
Barbie,
Little
Mermaid. But you have a wild card one.
I think Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift is going to be a big one. A couple years ago was Travis Barker and Kourtney Kardashian. Mark and I were that.
You know what else is going to be a big one is everyone's favorite, I guess, aunt who lives in their home, Miss Rachel.
Oh, somebody was saying that actually about the
like
party that we're going to.
It's
since
very
it's
easy for dads to be Miss Rachel. Like
they were saying,
like
we
so
should go as Miss Rachel and Blippi. I'm sure people will be at the party we're going to.
Watch Blippi.
I don't watch either of them.
Miss Rachel's great. Like Jack has learned so much from it.
Yeah,
and he's
not that I'm against it by any means. Yeah. We know that I'm always putting them in front of TV when needed, but that's just not one that we've ever turned on.
When did Sienna start liking movies? Like we are counting down the days until we can watch
when we get there.
Oh, we want to watch Lion King together so badly.
Yeah, I think most kids her age do. She just isn't for some reason.
She's very busy. She has a lot to do.
She does. I mean, she attended a cocktail party with me last night. I hosted a girls' night, and she was like, "Oh, a charcuterie board. How lovely! Let me
Was
make
the
a
green
plate."
Gatorade hers, or was that one of your friends struggling?
That was one of my friends. That was one of my friends. No, but she took I put out the fancy china, and she delicately picked up the fancy china and put her cheese and her crackers.
You know what would be
plate.
really fun is to do the themed charcuterie boards with her. I'm sure she would love that.
Yeah,
where for Christmas there are a lot of options.
Yeah. Do you know there's a charcuterie board subscription?
Yes.
Okay.
I feel like there's a ton of those.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting.
I feel like here's the thing, and this is what I've learned. Just get a big wooden plate on Amazon. Don't forget to put the wax paper down.
What? What's the wax paper for?
Well, then they don't have all the goop.
See, you need to do
well, if it's wood, I'm
a master class on charcuterie board one episode.
Wood is weird. We have this awesome cutting board that my mom got me, but I truly don't feel like it's ever clean.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm is that whatever? Just get a plastic board then, whatever, because then you can just put it hose it down. Just get sprigs of herbs.
Yeah.
It's the easiest thing. Get a couple mums for this time of year, mums and rosemary. And just shove it in, and it elevates it in 5 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
And just get different colors.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to eat it.
Yeah.
Like the
I,
apricots, dried apricots.
I
Level
like,
up.
right. I like doing some nuts, some
Yep.
like chocolate covered pretzels
You
sometimes for
can
like a
add
little
in some
sweetness.
pistachios for
Yeah.
like the green. Yeah.
I love a honey truffle on a cheese board.
Drunken Goat from Whole Foods really is like the universal one size fits all cheese. Have you ever
I
had
feel
that?
like this is not the first time that we've discussed Drunken Goat on this podcast. I feel like maybe we should reach out to Whole Foods and have them sponsor us.
I mean, that'd be great. Hello? Is that your house phone?
Hello.
Is that your rotary ringing over there?
No, you know what it is? It's my phone telling me that somebody's at the door. We
You
got
have
one of those.
a ring a ding ding.
Yeah. Um,
There's a bunch of flooding in what, Biscayne? Or not flooding, like super high tide I saw today. Did you see that Acapulco was just like destroyed?
no.
Like I just saw it online. I saw it on my Instagram feed, and there was like some crazy hurricane, no warning, like dozens dead.
Regrettably, I am doing a little bit of a detox from the news just because of everything going on. I'm trying to take it in like what's the word I want to controlled manners. So I feel weird saying like, no, there's a big thing happening in Acapulco and I didn't actually know about it, but
this
I
is terrible. But it immediately reminded me of Utah, how they have like the controlled pours. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No.
For liquor, like they're like, I think there's something they have to put on the bottles that like literally measures the shot. Like,
and it will like actually stop it
accurately. Yeah.
Oh,
and like
the
you can't get a double. Yeah.
Oh.
And then they stop serving at a certain time because apparently
I can tell you what, we don't have that down here in Florida. No, we don't.
Y'all come back now, I hear.
Y'all come back.
It's not like 2 drinks per person. It's like, how many
Florida's,
can you fit?
Florida's like, whoopsie, that was a double.
God. But we did a family photo shoot last week, and I was talking to our photographer who, I don't know if you've heard this, but at Pepperdine, there was this tragedy. There were 4 girls struck and killed on PCH, Pacific Coast Highway, Pepperdine students. And we were talking about it because she teaches at Pepperdine. She's like, it's too much, like it's overwhelming. And that's what I was saying. I was like, I saw this Instagram where it said, I think that God is the only being that we're aware of who can handle how much hurt and pain and death and destruction is going on in the world simultaneously. And it's like, it's too much for a human being. Like the weight of it is just, it's too heavy. There's no other way to say it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, specifically with everything going on in Israel and Gaza and Palestine.
That's more than enough to just. And
I so much want to understand what's going on. And I'm like this with every tragedy or trauma, any shooting that has ever happened in this world. I've always been like, I need to know every bit of information because you think that in some way it's going to rationalize what happened, and there just isn't any rationalization.
Like there was just a mass shooting in Maine.
Like
you saw that. I mean, it's like
yes. And there's a Naples moms group that I'm a part of, a Facebook group, which is popping.
I will say
all sorts of things.
Like, not to make light of a very heavy and very serious conversation, but I am so proud of how like you just swan dove into that community and you were like, the Simons are here. How can we help? Oh my God.
You know what it is? I'm just so happy to find a community. I'm so happy to have a neighborhood. I'm so happy for my children to just have a beautiful place to grow up. And, you know, I am grateful for the things I had when I was growing up, but I didn't have the open door policy home.
You have one of those?
Wasn't really allowed to have people over. It was like all about like, we need to keep the house like clean and organized, which like as a parent I get. Yeah. But we need our time to recharge. Absolutely.
Is there ever a time when Mark like shoots you the look like, let's wrap it up. Come on, girlfriend. Like,
kind of.
We got to go watch Saved by the Bell.
Kind of. Sometimes. Yeah. I'm definitely like we had an event with a professional organization that he's a part of on Wednesday night. And I had a really rough start to the week. I didn't feel good. And then when we went, like I can get energized in those types of environments where I think for some people it will deplete them. But he was doing okay, but he was like, wow, I'm like really shocked at how much you liked that and how much he keeps saying that, like how much I am like diving into it and really making those relationships, because I just think it's so important. I'm just so excited to be a mom and be making these relationships
it's
for us and
awesome.
our kids, and it's great. But
No, going back to what we were talking about, Israel, and you trying to rationalize, like, and it's human nature. I
yeah,
mean,
you
it
just
is,
can't.
to want to know, like, what went
Oh,
wrong.
I was talking about
like,
the Facebook. The Facebook. Somebody had posted on the Facebook, like, hey, I'm supposed to travel internationally this week. Do you think it's safe to do so? If you guys were in the same boat, what would you do? And this is what people do all the time. I mean, they could post on here about like, hey, I need a place for my son's birthday party, to I had this issue with the teacher. How would you respond? Some of the stuff gets crazy, but a lot of these communities have them. If you're listening to this and you haven't found one in your community, I urge you to search on Facebook. I'm sure there is one that is there. I mean, it's even
also maybe get a therapist, because some of this does not need to go on the Facebook wall.
100% the people on there, like, yeah, all therapists should just go in there and they could just sign up a million different patients. But if they could charge reasonable rates, which is a problem. But it's also just like a good search engine. Like a lot of times I don't, and by a lot of times, I mean always, I've actually never posted in this group. I just go and search it, and then I find the answers to the things that I wanted. Anyway, so people were responding to this and were like, one person was like, hey, I'm overseas now and I have no concerns. Everything's okay. And other people were like, yeah, you have to live your life. You got to go. Other people were said, absolutely not. I would not be going anywhere right now. Like, it's scary to be anywhere. We don't know what's going to happen. And then someone else responded, and wow, did this like shake me to the core. It was like, yeah, international is probably pretty safe, but if you're in America, don't go to a school, a movie theater, a bowling alley, a shopping mall, an outdoor event, and named like all these places where there's been mass shootings in the last few years. And it was just like, damn.
Even
like what
the crazy stuff that's going on so I follow this self-defense girl, and she said a lot of Walmart parking lots are dangerous. But like, it's what people are doing is they'll go into Walmart and they'll be like, I hit your car. It's like, oh my God. It's like, come on, I'll show you. It's like, no, ask for a picture, ask for insurance, ask a supervisor to come out with you.
Yeah.
So they're either carjacking or worse to these women in these parking lots. So it's just about always having your spidey senses up. And isn't that sad that we always have to have our spidey senses up? Because like there was a video that I saw last night, and it was a recording of about a half a mile away from the main shooting, and you could hear the AR-15. And the girl posted it, and she's like, this is what an AR-15 sounds like. And it's like, I hate that you need to know that, but this is what it sounds like.
Yeah. I mean, we're certainly on edge. There was even a car backfiring. Oh my God, we were walking out of a restaurant the other day and there was a car backfiring outside, and I stopped in my tracks and like turned around and looked at Mark, and you could tell that he was like really
spidey
nervous
senses.
too. Yeah. And he kind of like looked out of the restaurant and could see people looking in the direction of this one car that looked like it was having trouble, but it's not a good time. It's definitely tough. Speaking of tough, Britney Spears.
Yeah, I'm not following it. I mean,
life.
The extent to which I saw was the Justin Timberlake baby abortion thing.
Yeah. Like, what a major bomb to drop. That this pop star that basically was idolized for being a virgin and being this like good girl figure is admitting, she's like, I don't know why people said that, because I had been having sex since I was 14 years old.
Oh, wow.
I lived with my boyfriend when I was like 17. Like, of course, I was sexually active. And not only that, yeah, I got pregnant and had an abortion. And y'all were saying like I'd never kissed someone before.
Did we not see the music videos?
Yeah, I don't know. I think she was also saying it too because she said she really basically hated that Justin took credit for like taking her virginity. Like, never came out and said it, but never denied it.
She's like, I was hoeing for years. Oh,
yeah. I know. I loved it. I loved it. Yeah.
Says the girl who like didn't do that until I was in my 20s. My God.
So I didn't read the book. I actually do want to, but I listened to this podcast.
Is it on SparkNotes?
Well, basically that's what this podcast is.
Is SparkNotes still around?
I know it should be. No, are you kidding? These day and age, I'm sure these kids have some crazy AI thing that like spits out the whole book in 30 seconds. this podcast called Celebrity Memoir Book Club. This is like
Whoa.
their holy grail. These
Okay.
girls are huge Britney Spears fans. And then they actually had a Britney Spears podcast prior. And then
A Britney Spears podcast just on Britney Spears?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God.
And
she's just been dancing with knives in her foyer for a few years.
Oh man, yeah.
So
So
bad for
they
her.
summed it up really well. They read passages from the book. They like hit on the keynotes of it. So
Sounds like it's like a religious podcast.
yeah, the passages. They yeah. She reads the.
Oh, tell me.
So just some of the cliff notes, I guess, are right. So that thing about how she actually lost her virginity at 14 basically goes to the root of it, and that she comes from just a really horrible family background, and that her dad's dad was like highly abusive. Her dad's mom had a stillborn, or the child died very young, and then she like went into a mental institution, came out, and killed herself because of just like everything. And then
Britney's grandmother.
I think so. Yeah. And then the abuse from the
husband,
grandfather.
yeah.
So that really downplayed onto the father, that then kind of fueled the abuse that he had for Britney and her siblings, and how their life was just so up and down. They'd be the richest family in the neighborhood, and then they'd be the poorest family in the neighborhood. And it was just kind of going
So would
all
he
over the
blow
place.
it, or what was the
Yeah, he was like a really bad alcoholic and just like wasn't stable. And then how like she always kind of liked to dance and sing, but didn't really care.
Yeah.
And then they like pushed her into doing this, and then it just kind of took off. She went up to live in New York City with like some random family friend by the time she was 15 years old. And the biggest thing that I got out of it was how her parents just continually put her down. Like there was nothing, oh, you have the number one album. Oh, you're the number one person on MTV. Oh, you're winning all these awards. And they continuously just told her how she was fat and how she wasn't good enough and how she needed to be doing more. And all she wanted was to be loved. And she continued to buy them houses, take out on their debt, like do whatever she could to help them have a better life. And it just wasn't enough. And as a mother, I just sit here thinking, like, I couldn't imagine ever telling my child, you're not good enough. Like, you need to, like, what are you doing? You need to do more. Especially if she's achieving this national stardom for everything. I don't know. And then it goes into so more obviously about the conservatorship, which is just not something you could even sum up in a few minutes, but how like it started with them taking away her children.
Yeah.
And then they were like, she's going crazy. And she's like, of course I was going crazy. I was going insane. I shaved my damn head.
Right.
You took my 6-month-old baby away from me.
Right.
Like I didn't realize we were still young when this all happened, 2007, right? So you and I were like
Right.
16, 17 years old. We had our own lives going on.
And we probably thought, oh my God, Britney's going crazy. Like,
yeah, I don't remember the
mention
details.
of postpartum or like, yeah.
No, I had no idea that she had a 5-6-month-old at the time. Like I think about that now, like, yeah, I'd shave my head too if someone took Asher away from me.
But the only way we really got information then is like you physically had to like go to people.com or
Teen Bop magazine.
It was the food store. You would see it at the food store on like in the 30 seconds while your mom was like, all right, let's go. Like we got it, whatever. And you're like, oh my God, I need to read everything. Because you weren't allowed to buy them.
Yeah.
They were like $3 each.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to buy them. I mean, maybe my mom bought them for me when like Leo was on the cover or like, I don't know, Jesse McCartney, but
yeah.
No, that's how we got our information.
Yeah. It's really sad though. But the compassion and the empathy that she has for people is mind-blowing. I mean, she's really a good soul at heart. And listen, I'm sure there are things that went down that she maybe didn't admit to in the book, but she was very open about all good, bad, otherwise that she was a part of and that she did or that might have been provoking to people. But it's a really sad state of affairs for her. It's, and I hope she can somehow get on the right track. But like you said, she's just
and then that like creep
slinging knives in her kitchen for
just
a long
married
time.
to like for a couple
Sam,
months. Yeah.
About how they think now that he was probably brought in like during the conservatorship and that he was like a plant pretty much. But yeah, she is like, that was the thing is like, so you're telling me I can't make any of my own decisions. She wasn't allowed to buy her own clothes or her own shoes. If they thought it was unnecessary, they would say, no, you can't buy that. She wasn't allowed to eat whatever she wanted. For like 6 years, she could only eat the food that people put in front of her. She was never allowed to have choice in that matter. But then they were like, okay, but you're capable of getting up and going out and going on a world tour and having a residency in Vegas and going on press tours. But she's not capable of picking what she wants to eat.
I mean, listen, I think it's a sad and very tragic thing. And we don't know what we don't know. It's like,
Yeah,
you know,
100%.
we obviously only know half of the story. It's sad any way you slice it, that this like beautiful, talented, presumably sweet girl has now, her life has come to this after everything she's accomplished. Like, you can't take her accomplishments away from her.
Yeah.
And if you just look at that black and white, it's like, that's really sad. It's like the story. It's like how I never knew how Elvis ended up at the end of his life. Like, I obviously knew that he overdosed and died, or that's but I never knew that like he was broke, and I never knew that what his manager did to him, and you know, kind of all this extra stuff that comes with it, because everything's glamorized and everything is, I will say, okay,
ooh, that's a hot take.
The Britney Spears song in the red jumpsuit. What song is that?
Oh, I know what you're gonna say. Is it "Oops, I Did It Again"? No. It's the other one after that. Like
it's the other one, the other great one.
Yeah, the other one.
Did she have a microphone or not?
So you're talking about the Mandela effect, which you bring up often. Yes. I think the whole thing was that she did the same outfit for a performance on the VMAs, and that's where she wore the microphone. But in the music video, she did not.
But everyone has the microphone, like with the costume. But then then you disproved my conspiracy theory. Huh.
What song was that for? We'll figure it out. And you know what's the best part is that
she was wearing this.
There are listeners
with this.
Yeah, there are listeners that are screaming at their phone or their radio right now, being like, "It was this song, you idiots! Like, why don't you remember?"
I have a friend who I was FaceTiming with her the other day, just catching up, and she knows, like, I'm the resident conspiracy theorist friend. So people will come to me. I'm not all knowing, but I will research. So she's like, "Oh my God, I saw this thing. They said that Britney's actually dead and it's just AI and it's all," and I'm like, I mean, bruh.
You know, they said that about Avril Lavigne for years.
They still say that.
Yeah. I did a deep dive into that one night.
Have you seen the pictures of Kanye? Like,
I
looking
don't
like he has like football pads
on.
Like his shoulders are like this now.
So you think Kanye's not real too?
Do you remember he said? I mean, listen, Kanye is nuts. Like Kanye has like everything. Listen, I don't know.
Wait, are you real? Are you the real Kacie? Okay.
It as far as my consciousness goes, I think so. But like, you can't argue that like his like. You saw those pictures? But he said something. He's like, "If you don't hear from me, like, I'm dead," or so.
Oh yeah, he said, "If you don't hear from me, it's because Chris put me on a 5150 hold or something like that."
Whatever. But like, his body looks different. I don't know.
That's a whole other one.
Maybe he got shoulder implants.
Yeah. So we have a hot take segment that we want to do here. Kacie, in addition, in her spare time, when she's not looking up conspiracy theories, she likes to bombard my DMs on Instagram, which I love. I'm not knocking. It's fun. So this is what I was going to tell you earlier.
I'm very much an podcast. All or nothing girl. I will ghost you, or I will be so far up your butt you just are like, down girl.
Yeah. I will wake up in the morning, and I took a screenshot of it one time, and I need to post it. I was like continuously scrolling down my homepage of just the amount of text messages and DMs that you had sent. And it's funny because currently I'm in Florida and she's in California. So we're on a 3-hour time delay. Yes. So by the time I am asleep, Kacie is in her revenge bedtime procrastination phase, which we're going to talk about in a second. And she's sending me all these things. And I wanted to post it. You're going to hear my horrible singing voice in a second. I wanted to post it to that song that's like, "From the moment I wake up, before I put on my makeup." I'm just like,
you can post it.
All of this stuff. It's so funny. God. But so she finds these, like, some of it is so interesting. I love the stuff that you send.
My algorithm,
wide variety. Yeah.
My algorithm has to be like,
crazy.
Like having a seizure. Like, does not know. No.
But so hot take segment. One of them is, when you're at the dentist, Are your eyes open or closed?
They wield that brush with a fiery passion that is like, you would think that they were like a knight in King Arthur's court, like just trying to like slay a dragon.
Who's they?
The dentist or the hygienist. So
the tools. You said brush, like okay,
like
but
the brush,
yeah,
like the power,
yeah.
the spin brush. So, and nothing against dentists. Listen, we need you guys because I have wine and coffee stains all up in these, and baking soda only does so much. There is so much spray back from that. I don't care if you have the goggles on. Keep those eyes closed.
Mhm.
I actually have gotten like the toothpaste from the dentist in my eyeballs before, and it burns because it's like sandy.
I'm an eyes closed type of person, just because I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna get some rest. I'm not gonna awkwardly lay here. I'm just gonna close them. So this brings up another question: getting your hair washed at a hair salon, eyes closed,
Always
or eyes
closed
open?
because again, there's always water.
Yeah.
Okay. When I'm getting a hydrofacial
Mm-hmm.
and it drips into my ears.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Have you gotten a hydrofacial before?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like it's a splash zone.
Yeah.
So when they run it's a 2-hand thing. Like they run the gun and then they have to wipe and like kind of rub in, like follow the trail.
Yep.
First of all, with a hydrofacial, and I'm not I love estheticians. I have been so lucky to have like the most amazing estheticians. But I have gotten a hydrofacial before. This woman, it was actually in Philly. She was like, I've done Beyonce, I've done this, I've done that. I'm like, oh, awesome. Yeah. Like, yeah, you know what you're doing. Literally, like my ears were a swimming pool. Yes, like my ears. And she went like this.
Mm-hmm.
And like was like jabbing my face. Like when I go for a facial, I want it to be clinical. Like I want you to suck all the goo out. Give me all the extractions, like get it done. Like I want that water to be like black and have like things living in it. You know, when they like empty the water afterwards?
Yeah. Gross.
Yes. I want it. I do not want to see through it. But like I want to relax. Like I am like, you're paying what? Like hundreds of dollars. Like I want to fall asleep. Like I want you to get this shit out, but I want to fall asleep.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why I feel like, you know what, whether it's the dentist or whether it's getting your hair washed, I've fallen asleep a few times at getting my hair blown dry after a haircut is like, for some reason, the most relaxing thing. I can't wait till Sienna's old enough to play with my hair, but not rip it out in chunks like she is right now.
Jack rips my hair out now, but I always find that when I'm getting a blowout, like I'm awkwardly like pushed forward, or like my neck is back like this, and I'm just like,
you're doing that thing where your neck muscles, you're like they're pulling you back, but you're trying to resist, and you're just like this.
Speaking of neck muscles, have you heard of Botox in your neck?
Yes.
You have?
Yeah, because people have like the lines or the wrinkles across their neck.
I have one big one.
And I guess people want to get it there.
Yes. So I had, when we were in Chicago, I was getting Botox and she's like, do you want Botox in your neck? And I was like, She said you can also do it in your shoulders to relax. Like, I mean, do you carry stress there? Like my shoulders are always like hard as rocks. So
maybe that's what Kanye needs.
Yeah, Kanye needs that. Like right here. You get it and it calms you down.
All right, moving on. Now that we're kind of talking about some health stuff, I want to tell you about a health thing that happened to me lately. It's a little bit more serious, and then we'll move on until wrapping up this month of the.
You told me it wasn't serious. Are you okay?
No, it's just a serious topic that I feel like needs to be talked about a little bit more among women. So as I started talking about on another episode with the health plan that I'm on, there's something off with my hormones. There have been since I had Asher. I don't remember this being the case after I had Sienna, but I also went on birth control immediately after I had Sienna. And this time I wanted to see what my body could do by itself. And let me tell you something, it's not being nice to me.
Okay.
So the reason I started going on this health plan is because I've had a couple incidents where I've collapsed, where like the whole room just absolutely flips upside down. And it's different than that feeling that you get from when you are standing and you go to sitting down and then you get back up again.
The last time this happened was like the summer, because I feel like you were at the beach house.
Yeah, that was one of them. Then the last time it happened a couple weeks ago in Target, and I had to like sit on the ground in Target and then like crawl over to the Starbucks area and sit on a chair.
Oh my God.
Um, so I've I think it has to do with my hormones just like not being on the right levels again. I've started working with this registered dietitian who a lot of the things that you read say that gluten and dairy can basically feed your hormones in a way that are not good and that
Hmm.
continues to have them overproduce or underproduce. And so what she wants to do is have you go gluten-free, dairy-free to kind of just
Elimination.
reset.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the leaky gut we talked about. Okay.
Hmm.
So the first week that I did it, I felt really good. And that's what I was saying the last time when
Hmm.
we talked on the podcast about it. I was like, oh, I'm pissed at how good I feel because I don't really
Right.
want to stay gluten free, if that is the answer. And then the second week was fine. And then by the third week, the beginning of this week, I was just like, I'm starting to get really discouraged because not only do I not feel good, but I feel worse.
Ugh.
And by Monday, I felt the way that I did when I was pregnant. And obviously, if you listen to this podcast enough, you know that I have really, really tough pregnancies. It was my entire body was in pain. My muscles, I felt like I had been run over by a truck. I had a horrible headache in the frontal lobe, like front part of my head. And I was back to where I felt like I needed to just lay there and have my eyes closed.
Hmm.
And then I'm thinking to myself, like, okay, there's probably something up with my cycle. I could tell I was having other symptoms, not to be TMI, but when you get like a certain type of like discharge that you're like, okay, I'm ovulating.
Yeah.
I definitely was like ovulating. And so I just thought, okay, this is part of the cycle. It'll be over in a day or so. I went into such a deep depression in a matter of 24 hours, like just like that. And I didn't want to get out of bed. I mean, I was like looking at my phone sitting next to the charger, and the thought of picking it up and plugging it into the charger was overwhelming. I could it was like
Like you couldn't move, like debilitating.
in too much pain to even be able to get up and do it. I wanted to burst into tears multiple times throughout the day. But like nothing was wrong. And then my mom came over, it was with the kids for a little bit, and Mark and I went out and ran some errands together, and we went to the food store, and I just looked at him and I just burst into tears, and I was like, I just want to crawl up on this floor and die. I feel so awful right now. Something is so wrong with me.
And so what did
he
you
was
do?
like he was like, do you want to go to the emergency room? Like, I know this is not you. I know how rough you're feeling right now. Like, this is not okay that you feel like this. I'm like, I know, and I don't know what to say, and I don't know what to do, but I don't want to go to the hospital. I just want to go home. I just want
Yeah.
to like be with the kids. And throughout this I've been like, they've been kind of pushing me around from a neurologist to a cardiologist, but I don't think it's a cardiology thing. I think it's an
Well,
endocrinology thing because of the
That's what
hormones.
Dr. Sharon said. She was like, every doctor is in their own corner. So it's so
Yeah.
hard for you're a ping pong ball.
Yeah, Dr. Sharon is an interview that we did the other day that actually is going to air in the month of either November or
Oh,
December.
right,
She's
right, right.
a
Okay.
neurologist that we're going to have on who answers a lot of great questions. But yeah, so it was just a really tough time. And I started researching a little bit more, and it seems like some of the symptoms are part of what is called PMDD. Let me look it up really quick but it's basically just like a very severe form of PMS, premenstrual dysphoric disorder.
So your hormones must like tank.
Yeah.
Like, like you must have like the highest of highs and also the lowest of lows.
Yep.
Where so you just probably not just, but you definitely need hormone support. Is that what your nurse told you?
So it says hormonal birth control and antidepressants can relieve symptoms. Well, spoiler alert, I'm already on the antidepressants, so there goes that.
Right.
But and yeah, like maybe I need to go back on birth control, which I'm considering, but that's just like a masking of it. It's
Well,
not helping it.
that's what we said. It's like the Flex Seal commercial. Like
Yeah.
the boat is
Yes.
leaking and you are
Yes.
just patching the leaks instead of just let's like fix the boat.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or as a doctor I used to work with used to say, I really liked this analogy. It's fixing the faucet as opposed to just mopping up the floor every time.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I've been working with the registered dietitian and the functional medicine with this program, and telling her I went and had to get another blood panel yesterday to check a couple additional levels.
Well, you're
And
probably going to have to do that. Like it's like pregnancy. Like you're probably going to have to do that weekly, if not more, throughout your
yeah,
cycle,
yeah.
just to be able to see what's under the hood.
Oh yeah. Like there was no appointments available at the lab, and I was like, I don't even care. I will go there and wait for 3 hours until they see
Yeah.
me as a walk-in, because I need answers. I need to get this done. But I just felt, it just made me feel so sad for any woman that goes through that doesn't have the support, that doesn't have, a partner who believes her or understand what she's going through. Like,
Doesn't have the time, can't go sit there for 3
doesn't
hours.
have
Yeah.
the time, right, to do the blood panel, or just doesn't understand what's going on in her body. So I wanted, because listen, I have been so guilty of this, where I remember seeing, it was Dixie D'Amelia. She's one of those like TikTokers,
Yeah.
came out recently and said, I struggle with PMDD. And it was like, it's a severe form of PMS. And I kind of thought to myself, as well as the thousands of other people that commented on that Instagram post, of like, so you have rough cramps, like deal with it.
Yeah,
Take
yeah.
some Midol and get over it. And then, oh my God, when I just went through what might be, considered somewhat PMDD, like, no, that was not okay. So to any woman who is experiencing something similar, that's not normal. That's not you having a bad day. That's not your fault. Go talk to your doctor. Something might be up.
And unfortunately, it might not be an end all be all by talking to your doctor. Like you might have to
really
bark
be
up
your
a
own
few
advocate.
trees. Yeah.
Yeah. You have to be your own advocate in your health. You have to make different appointments. If one doctor says no, then go to another one, then do more research, then find what you can, which I think is one of those
in
things
all
we
of
learn
your
as
spare time.
Right. But we learn as we get older, when I was younger, I was like,
Your health is your wealth.
Doctors know everything.
Yeah.
No. And they don't. And that's no knock on them. It's just truth. It's just there's so much complexity to the human body. Yes. I thought there was a black and white answer to every health question that we could possibly have. And that's just not how it works. This isn't a knock on doctors. It's just a matter of what it is.
Well, there's also so many factors. I mean, it's like going back to my biological age. It's like, oh, well, I used to work in TV in the morning. So my circadian rhythm was thrown off. So it's like you are a culmination of not just the last 33 and 34 years, but the stress and conditions your mother lived in, the stress and conditions your grandmother lived. Like there is a science to that. And it is, there can be traumas that are coming up for you now that didn't even happen in your lifetime.
Yep.
Which is bizarre and beyond our realm of understanding, at least for me.
Yeah. Yeah. So, it was rough. And my husband was very sweet to say, like, I feel so bad because you were such a healthy person. And all of these things that you've been dealing with in your health really happened since you've had children. And it's like your body's struggling to kind of just get back to baseline. And I felt really seen when he said that. And it's something that, like, I want other women to know. Like, we really went through it. And it's okay. I have to tell myself this all the time. I'm so hard on myself about weight and about just, what I'm capable of now compared to what I was then. But you're just not the same person. But I'm also like a better person in different ways.
Okay, so should we coin the phrase, like, we're not bouncing back, we're like slow rolling back? Like, it's not. Know. Yeah. And that's just to the point. It's like, after the baby comes, like, yes, this is awesome. I get to put like cute clothes on him and like have a birthday party.
I just have this vision of, like, when you take a basketball and it's just like totally like flat and you try to bounce it and it's just like boom.
I had the vision of Violet from Willy Wonka and they're just like rolling her out. Slow and steady.
Slow rolling back.
The roll back, not the bounce back. It's the old roll.
So so that was that. So make sure you talk to your doctor or talk to me even if you need help with anything or just, want to talk about your symptoms. I'll keep updating, of course, on this show about what we find out and how my journey with that is going and the health plan. We want to, in our last few minutes here, make sure that we speak a little bit about the last month and the content that we had with Pregnancy and Infant Loss Awareness Month. We've heard from some of you about how it was helpful because you don't want to feel alone when you're going through that. and to be able to share stories and know that there are other women that are going through the same thing, that you're not crazy for feeling or thinking the way that you do. And it's just heavy. It's
Yeah.
heavy. We had actually had a segment that we wanted to do called Voices, where various women were going to send in how their experience went for them in either infant loss or miscarriage. And some people did, and some people either didn't feel comfortable or just simply didn't get to the deadline because, moms.
Well, yeah, I mean, to
Um,
be like totally transparent, like life happens. And like,
yeah.
here's the other thing: composing a text or a DM to be like, hey,
Hmm.
I have a podcast and I'd love for you to share. It's like, I can't gatekeep that. Like, I
Hmm.
can't, like, that's not, I'm not inviting you to a party. Like,
Hmm.
if someone is very outward about it, okay, like, and we have that relationship, but like asking someone to share that is very, it's a lot to ask.
Hmm.
And also to articulate that in a concise manner.
Yeah.
Hey, not only can you tell me about this loss, can you do it in 5 minutes or
Yeah.
less?
But I will say in the grief podcast that I had, I felt that with a lot of people, they would say like, "Oh, I really want to do this. I'm just like a little nervous. I'm not sure." And I don't think I had one person that didn't say to me at the end of interviews, "Wow, that was so therapeutic to talk
Yeah.
about. That was so good to be I was learning things about myself as I was speaking."
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it is a hard line to walk because I never want people to think that we're trying to exploit them, but I want to be able to give them a platform to
Right.
talk and say the things that they want to say. So that, didn't come together for today, but maybe it will at another time.
Mm-hmm.
And with that said, if you're listening now and that is something that you'd want to contribute to and you want to be a part of that, feel free to email
Yeah.
us, motheruppod@gmail.com, and we'd be happy to listen to your story. And, whether it's
And
something
share it
we bring
or,
you on
yeah.
for another episode or we just share part of your story and we can send you the instructions to get us a voice note on it. But that will certainly not be the last time we touch on that topic. It's just, we wanted to make sure we did it for the awareness month. Um, and thanks for sticking with us through it.
Yeah.
A lot more fun content up ahead. We have a full calendar. I'm really proud of us. Like, air high five to us because we have November, December, and January booked out
Yeah.
with
We do.
interviews and fun things going on for the podcast. So we're so excited to keep going and to do this with you guys. So thanks for being here. We love you.
Um, do you want to share? Sorry, just to stop. Do you want to share
Share my what?
your experience
With
with your
miscarriage?
miscarriage? Yeah.
Oh yeah, I think I wasn't sure if I talked about it on the show before or not, but I did have a miscarriage before I had Asher. It was in January. Which I think about it now, the baby was going to be due a few weeks after Jack. So I must have got pregnant right before you did. Um, and I started bleeding at like 7 weeks, which wasn't uncommon because I had bled with Sienna and I have a negative blood type, which means, or I'm like A negative. So
Yes.
I
So you
have
need that
to,
shot.
the RhoGAM shot, because basically my body like tries to fight the pregnancy or just sees it as a foreign object. So then you have to go into the emergency room, or at least I did with Sienna when I was like 9 weeks with her, and get the shot. So I started bleeding and I was a little freaked out, but Mark was like, "It's okay. We've run this drill before. We know what this is." And we went into to the to the hospital, and I was definitely started to bleed a lot more. I just felt different. I went in to get the ultrasound, and all of a sudden the tech was just like so nice. And
Yeah.
was like, "Do you want a blanket? Are you okay? Like, I'm going to bring you back to the room now." And I'm like, "Oh, he knows I'm about to get like pretty
Yeah.
bad
You said
news."
he wouldn't read the ultrasound. Like he wouldn't.
Yeah, they always
Yeah.
say we'll have to wait for the doctor. So yeah, then they came back in and just told us that there wasn't going to be a baby in late September anymore. And it was definitely devastating, but I held on to my hope that I held on to, which, you know, we heard a lot of our guests say in the last couple episodes about hope that they had. The hope that I held on to was looking at my daughter, Sienna,
Right.
and knowing, all right, my body did this. I already had a child.
Right.
Which, so like, I'm like, my experience was nothing compared to what some women have to go through to not only experience that over and over and over again, but to experience that prior to having a child at all and not
Mhm.
knowing if that's in store for what your body can do. Um, so I also, you know, there's so much other stuff that goes into it in terms of like, I kind of had some weird feelings that the pregnancy wasn't safe in the beginning. And then I blamed myself that because I had those feelings, did I manifest this? And
Right.
I made the body not, or made the baby not stay. And, you know, all those things that we do to ourselves as a woman.
So
Um,
that's interesting. And I'm Catholic, so I believe in God. I believe in, you know, I believe we control our own destiny to a point, but you know, it's like God has a plan. Like there
yeah.
is, you know, there is a, my Aunt Monica always says it. She had miscarriages. She had a stillborn. She actually shared her story, which we will share in our next
Hmm.
October when we do this again. And I remember that. I mean, it rocked me in my core. I was in grade school, and I'll never forget it. My cousin Frankie, you know, she's this beautiful, dark haired, like gorgeous, like angel on earth. Um, and I believe that my Aunt Monica would always say, life is a tapestry. You know, on the back, it looks messy and it's, you know, needlework and it's a mess. You flip it over and then you see the big picture. So, you know, she said with 3 miscarriages and a stillborn, she has 4 beautiful babies. And one thing she said to me was, if I would do it all again, knowing the outcome, I would do it all again.
Hmm.
And I think like with time and with healing, you know, you can get to that point. So this month of October, earlier this month, I did have a miscarriage. And it's still sad.
It's really sad.
You I have a son, a perfect son in my mind. And he is that hope for sure. You plan and you fall in love with a future, which I'm sure you did right after Sienna. Like we're a family of 4, the 4 Simons, you know, that's where your mind goes. And you see, I'll never forget, I was going into labor and I was furiously texting you and you're like, you get the best prize. Like, cause I was like, I'm nervous. I'm scared. What about the epidural? Oh my God, it's going to hurt. You're like, you get the best prize. Like it doesn't matter. And you don't realize that
It's
in the
all
moment.
purposeful pain. Like, you know, other times you go into the hospital and they don't know what's wrong with you and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Like,
Poking
this
and
is
prodding.
for a purpose. We know what's
Yes.
happening. And not only can we help you with this pain, but you get the most beautiful thing at the end of it.
And then you just don't care. Like when I found out that I was pregnant with what would have been our second, I didn't care. I'm like, if I need a C-section, like whatever it is, like I need this baby to be healthy and perfect and I will do whatever. And I think like a lot of the reason why I'm on this like health journey, and even more so now, is because there is so much research of like what you put into your body. Like you're creating the environment for your baby. So, you know, suffering that loss is definitely deep and definitely heavy. And selfishly, the guests this month really helped me through that. And as like painful as it was to talk about it, the only way out is through.
I, first of all, want to thank you for sharing that here. I wasn't sure if you were going to, but I'm so glad that you did. And I also, I'm going to get through saying this.
Go ahead.
I am just so proud of you. I wish that people could have seen what I saw, and actually they will once our YouTube is up and running. The amount of grace and utter like bravery and power that you had to have to sit there through some of the interviews that we had this month, knowing what was going on with you.
Yeah.
But I just love you so much. And it was just so hard for me to like hear the things that these people were saying and talking about their own miscarriages and their own things with their body, and just you just sat there with a smile on, just pushing through it. And like whether you were digging your nail into the side of your leg, being like, just get through this, just get through this, just get through this. I mean, it was just, you were just like such a professional at the core of it. And like, I wanted you to have this time. I kept saying to you, like, are you okay? Like, please break down. Please give yourself time to break down. Please give yourself that time to feel it. And because you're allowed.
Yeah. I knew it was happening when it happened. It was like a week. It started, I was working in New York, and it started when I was there. And it was like a week, and the baby was measuring small, and then we went back the next week. And I knew I had an appointment on Monday, and I remember I texted you, and we recorded on a Friday, and I texted you that night. And I remember like I was texting you like what was happening, how much blood, all the things. And I knew when it happened. It was Friday night at like midnight. Like I knew when it happened. So I took that weekend to really like feel it and really grieve. And in a way I was preparing myself all week. With you, I talked to my aunt, and Eric was just, he was like, we have to be positive. We have to be positive. I remember I told him, Saturday morning, and he's like, I need you to be positive. Like, I need you. And then Monday when we went, he went to the appointment with me, and there was no baby. Well, I had passed everything, which was my body doing what it was supposed to do. But it's a future, and you mourn that. And, he was not okay that day. He was not okay.
Mm-hmm.
And it made me love him more.
Yeah.
Because he mourned that loss too. And I know how much he loves my son. And it's just like, you watch this human being that you chose to create a life with and build a life with. And you see how like
invested they are in that.
Invested they are, and how much they're growing emotionally, and how much like we were just kids, and now like he's this awesome dad and awesome husband, and like in all of it you find more love, where there, and I always remember that visual of you, the grief visual, where like your world grows around it. The grief stays the same, but like your world grows around it. And I will not ever attempt to feel or understand what somebody who has a stillborn or loses an infant goes through. Because I know how much it hurt losing a baby, before the anatomy scan, or before the 3D, or before your halfway point, before you get to announce. Like, our family photo shoot on Monday was going to be our pregnancy announcement. So it's, healing also comes with like, once you get past all the things you have planned, like all the things that you plan in your mind,
the
like,
triggers, because they all become triggers.
But I was going back to you saying that like you felt guilty. I remember saying after I found out that I was pregnant, oh my God, this baby's going to be a Taurus. Like, I can't have a Taurus. Like, oh, like the Chinese gender calendar says this baby's going to be a girl. Like, you're such a fool. Like, stop. Like, why would you care? And that's the thing. It's like my aunt Lorna is like so practical, and she's like, it's a miracle to get pregnant. It's a miracle to carry a baby to full term. And it's a miracle to birth a beautiful, alive, screaming, crying, pooping baby. And it gave me a big wake-up call, in the sense that like I can't control everything. I can't make everything fit into a box, and I need to just have gratitude. And I always thought I did, but I am just grateful for everything I have just the way it is. And we obviously want more babies. I want 4, Eric wants 3, so I need to move my butt. But I am just in this like moment. The control freak in me she is in the back seat of the bus. So I just need to trust the timing, trust the universe, trust God, whatever it is you believe in, and go with the flow.
But I also want to tell you that that is a huge realization, and not to take it lightly that you have had that. From all the work that I've done with grief, to be able to take a lesson out of trauma is a huge success.
Yeah.
That is not something that everyone can do. And for you to have done that during this very devastating period is really a testament to your maturity and how strongly you do already have that gratitude. Don't think that you were lacking in that, or you never had that before, or you need to grow in so many areas of your life and this is just a depiction of the horrible human that I am. It's not that way at all.
Yeah.
You are doing this right.
Yeah.
And I'm just so sorry that this happened.
I actually, thank you. I bought, the baby would have been due in May. And I was like, oh, maybe I can hold the baby in there and it could be due on my dad's birthday, which is June 3rd. And not be a Taurus, but be a stinking Gemini. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just like, shut up. You're so dumb. But I bought an emerald ring. And so like, that's something special that I'll always have.
Yeah.
Like when I found out that I was pregnant, and you're just so sure. Like when you
Mhm.
have a baby, you're like, oh, okay. Like baby's due in May. We're good. Like I'll
Yeah.
probably I'll probably feel uncomfortable around January.
Because our situations were similar in that we didn't have issues with the first pregnancy. So we figured, oh, so if I'm pregnant now, then it's going to be like the last one, and it's
Mhm.
going to stick, and it's going to be born the day that they're saying it's going to be born.
But here's the thing, like the false sense of security is like you bled with Sienna, as you said. Like Jack, I think I ovulate like later than I'm supposed to. So like Jack's heartbeat wasn't as strong when they thought it should be. Like, so he was a little bit like younger than they had predicted, if that makes sense. So like when I went for this baby and they're like, oh, there's no heartbeat yet, but like that's okay. I was like, okay, and then like, you go from there, like again, those early warning signs. And then it's the next time and the next time where you're like, oh, something's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is, yeah.
And it's just the absolute worst, that waiting period. That was like, oh my God. I thought I was like doing magic tricks. I was like, can
The
I do
waiting period
anything
is-
to
yeah.
distract you in this period? Because this has got to be so painful to just not have an answer right now.
But here's the thing, and I know like it's gonna make me sound crazy, but like I knew it in my bones.
Yeah, I felt the exact
I knew it
same
in my
way.
bones.
I
Like-
felt the exact same way.
And it's still so
then you
hard.
feel guilty for feeling that.
Yes, because then I was talking to myself and I was like, is all this like podcast stuff, like is it getting in my head? Like this is pregnancy loss awareness. Like am
that's
I
interesting.
manifesting this to happen? And I'm like, no, like I want this baby. Like I want this bullheaded Taurus baby that's gonna give me like a run for my money. Like I want this baby, but it's like I didn't manifest that.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't manifest that.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody does.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, unfortunately, we're a statistic now.
Yeah, one that's wild. 1 in 4.
1 in 4.
And I like wouldn't be surprised if that gets to 1 in 3 at some point.
What my mom said was, she was like, I had crazy periods always. Like Isabel and I are 8 years apart. So they tried for Isabel for a while. She tried for me for 2 years. And she had an appointment with a fertility specialist and got pregnant like right before. Mm-hmm. So like I always thought that I would have a lot of trouble. And then Jack was the wedding weekend baby.
Yeah.
But she said like I had horrible like she's like I probably had chemical pregnancies, I probably had early miscarriages, like that's another thing that people don't realize.
We talked about with Dr. Zagoni, like is that there are more miscarriages now, or that we are just finding out about them when we wouldn't have before because we are testing sooner, we are testing more often, as opposed to just like seeing what happened, and some people didn't even know they were pregnant until they were 5 months or whatever. It's just different. So but it's certainly an experience and an emotional one, and I'm just
Jack.
And then there's Mama.
Come here.
Oh, just what we needed.
Mama. Don't fall. Oh gosh, she's like running. Come on. Come here. You want to say hi? Come on. Also, this, can I just lean this into the camera? This is the best purchase ever. It's like an iPad on wheels. Come here to mama. You want to say hi? Yeah. We had a little fall, so he has a little boo-boo on his chinny chin chin. We were looking for trucks on the...
Oh, hi, Jack. Who's that? You say hi, mama.
Hi, mama.
Hi, Papa.
Oh, Bell Bell?
Aw.
Literally, he grabs my phone and he says, Bell Bell.
Bell
like
Bell.
my sister, like
Yeah.
to call her. That's Gianna.
So cute.
That's Sienna's mommy.
Can you say bye to all our listeners? Can you say bye-bye?
Say bye-bye.
Papa.
Bye-bye. What a cute, perfect
way
full
to
circle
end.
moment. Bye-bye. I know. Hello. All right. On that note, happy Halloween. We love you all, and we are forever growing and here for everyone.
Yes, love you.
Love you.